End Times authors Tim LaHaye and Craig Parshall say the Obama administration may be killing religious freedom by redefinition. Craig Parshall is an attorney and deals with freedom of religion issues. His wife, Janet Parshall, has a very popular radio show. And of course, Tim LaHaye is most famous for the Left Behind series, which is a 16-volume series originally designed just to be 3 volumes, but proved to be so overwhelmingly popular that it was expanded to cover 16 volumes. They even had a prequel. There were 3 movies that were done based upon the Left Behind series. Prior to that, of course, Tim LaHaye has written in the area of Bible prophecy and is considered by many to be a Bible prophecy expert. Their latest joint venture is a fictional book called The Edge of Apocalypse. And what's really, I don't want to say troubling about their assertions is that I don't understand why they're writing these particular novels, telling people what is inevitably going to happen. That's what happened in 1995 when the first of the Left Behind series came out. This is the last generation, friends. We're living on the edge of prophetic history. God is setting the stage for a presumptive end to this particular generation, the so-called church age, which he's going to rapture his church. Therefore, all of the prophecies in the book of Revelation, including the redefinition of religion according to LaHaye and Parshall, is coming to pass. My question to them is, why are you bothering? Why are you warning anybody about this? It seems to me that this is a prophetic inevitability. There's really nothing that we as Christians can do to stop this. Now, this isn't to say that Tim LaHaye and Craig Parshall and Janet Parshall are not involved politically. They are. But it's a hopeless cause, friends. If you really pay attention to their worldview, there is no possible way to change anything, especially if you believe that these things are predicted in the book of Revelation, and that we're coming to the end of the so-called church age, that there's a gap between chapter 3 and chapter 4, and that gap, nearly 2,000 years long, is about to come to an end. Israel became a nation again in 1948. And so all the things are in place for that. And so the inevitability of the rise of an antichrist, the inevitability of a worldwide economic takeover, and the inevitability of a redefinition of religion is in fact an inevitability. Now, there's nothing you can do to stop it. So I don't know why anybody would buy any of their books on this particular subject, or why there's a warning about this, because there's nothing that you or I can do to stop any of it. Now, there may be a redefinition of religious freedom today, and I wouldn't put it past them. They wrote this past Tuesday, "We are talking about the Obama administration's subtle but apparently deliberate use of a language sleight of hand, substituting the phrase freedom of worship for freedom of religion." Under international law, they say worship is a limited right and connotes activities within a church but can exclude public evangelism. Friends, look, there's not much difference in what took place in the early church. No one bothered the Christians as long as they worshiped privately, and when they went out to evangelize, both Jewish groups and the Roman groups persecuted the church. It was a declaration that they were claiming there's another king, and his name is Jesus. The civil sphere didn't like this because it called the power of Caesar into question, and of course the religious sphere didn't like it either because it called into question their adherence to the Old Covenant. And so we find this in the New Testament as well, that the Christian community was persecuted for their evangelism. They weren't persecuted for their belief system. They were persecuted because they went out and told other people about who Jesus was. And we find that many of them were not just persecuted, but some of them were put to death. We know that the end result of all of this, there were lots of martyrs during this period between AD 30 and AD 70. And so what we're hearing today isn't anything new. In fact, you can go back through the history of the church and you'll find the same thing. Prior to the time leading up to the Reformation, I mean, to translate the Bible into the vernacular, into the language of the people, could be a capital offense. You had Tyndale and Wycliffe being persecuted for their beliefs, for the way that they translated the Bible, just putting it into English, or choosing certain words that the church didn't like. Got Tyndale in a great deal of trouble. But here's the point. The Roman Empire and the apostate Jews of the first century are no more. It was the Christian church that survived this persecution and ended up supplanting both Old Covenant Judaism and the Roman Empire. The same is true with the rise of the Roman Catholic Church. Here you had Martin Luther in 1517, one guy taking on the church personally, simply with a public declaration of what he felt were the offenses of the Roman Catholic Church, and the Roman Catholic Church pounced on him with both feet. He had to be protected and be in hiding in order to save him from the authorities of the day. The church continued to survive. Now, Martin Luther, of course, did believe that there was a prophetic end on the horizon, and it's interesting that his approach to culture was not the same of those coming out of Geneva under John Calvin. It was the Calvinists who brought about a change in culture because they saw that the Bible applied to every area of life, and they did in fact apply it to every area of life. Unfortunately, the Lutherans developed a two-kingdom approach to theology, and left the public sphere to one set of standards, and the ecclesiastical sphere to another set of standards. This wreaked havoc in the 20th century, but it's a mindset is still with us today, even in reform circles. So my point in all of this is, you have end-time advocates, Tim LaHaye and Craig Parshall, warning us about the possibility of a redefinition of religious freedom that could in fact stop us from evangelizing. This is only going to give impetus to those people who believe we're living in the last days, and there's nothing you can do to stop any of this. And our fighting against this is trivial. Our fighting against this is a waste of good evangelistic fervor. Let's save as many people as we can before the end comes. And again, I've been railing against this for quite some time. People get on me about it and saying, we can still bring about change. We can still get involved politically and socially and culturally because because of this belief that Jesus is coming back. That doesn't mean we nullify these things. But look, let's get real here. If people truly believe that the end is nigh, that we're right around the corner, they do not believe there's any success for any of this. This is a prophetic inevitability. This is something that is going to take place. And so for Craig Parshall and for Tim LaHaye to come out and talk about this, it's futile. Why are we resisting it? The rapture's just right around the corner. This is just more and more evidence that we're living in the end times. So I would say avoid the book, The Edge of Apocalypse. I think it is dangerous because it sets up a false view of eschatology. It sets up a false view of the future. It has been damaging to the church for the last 150 years. It's one of the reasons we're in the mess that we're in today. And I have the emails to prove it. I have comments on websites to prove it. Why are we fighting socialism? Why are we fighting politically? Why are we fighting socially and ethically and so forth? Because we're living in the last days. All the signs are out there, the budding of the fig tree, wars and rumors of wars. Oh, I've heard this over and over and over again. And one of the reasons we're in the mess, and one of the reasons that the crazies are in control of the government from top to bottom, is because Christians have abdicated their responsibility and put their faith in a false eschatological theology that has got us into this mess in the first place.
For more related to this topic, check out 10 Popular Prophecy Myths Exposed by Gary DeMar You will find it at AmericanVision.com.